theme of the book of Philippians, what would that be? Yeah. And can I tell you a secret right here? Joy is a commandment from God. Go with me to Philippians 4:4. Just for 1 minute. What does Philippians 4:4 says? Rejoice in the Lord always. Wait. He's not done yet. Again, I would say rejoice. That sounds to me like a commandment. Doesn't sound like a suggestion to me. Now, I know that I said this before, but I think it's worth it for me to say it again. Joy is the trademark of a Christian. And I know that you know this too, but let me repeat it. Joy, J-O-Y, Jesus, others, and you. And if the book of Philippians has a teaching for us, is this, beloved, that people become more important than you. Being a Christian is about developing a passion for others. But you're going to have passion unless you have compassion. And compassion means in the Latin to suffer with. And that's why I love John Piper so much. Because he's living out the gospel of suffering. Beloved, we need to tighten our belts in America. And we need to be able to suffer for others. We don't need a bailout plan. We need Christ to bail you out. And he has the answer. It's his grace. His grace will transform your disposition towards God. If you heard me pray today, I pray that God will make our hearts what? Receptive. Reception. Radio and television reception. To receive and then retain. That we may respond. And let me give it to you right here. Another big point for the sermon tonight. Christians are people that respond with grace. Why is that people get into trouble? Why is that people come to prison? Because we responded in the wrong way. We responded inappropriately, didn't we? But if you respond in grace, you're always a winner. Don't we want to be a winner tonight? Don't we want to be a winner just watching tonight through television and listening to the radio? The only way to win is by being people of grace. People of gratitude. So he says here, always in every prayer of mine, making request for you all with joy. The book of Philippians, only in 4 chapters, beloved. The word joy or forms of the word joy are mentioned 16 different times. Wow. Beloved, our joy does not depend in your circumstance. Your joy depends on how well you have embraced, experienced, received, retained, and respond to grace. And let me tell you why Paul said that he had a thorn in his flesh. Because Paul was in need of being grounded in God's grace. Paul had a need of being anchored in God's grace. He just did not make that statement out of the blue that his grace is sufficient. No, he was making that statement out of experience. Beloved, the Christian life is about maturity. You cannot mature, right, Chaplain Renz, unless you go through something. Unless you have some scars to show for. And let me be very honest with you. The most difficult challenge in life is to deal with people. As a matter of fact, if you will be honest with yourself tonight, and me too, the only problem that we have is people. We don't have any other problem. Most of us will say, oh yes, I love God with all of my heart, but people, I heard this quote and I told Wendy about it, that the more I know people, the more I love my dogs. People are complex. I mean, one moment they are in cloud 37. The next moment they are somewhere down there. Where did Christ go wrong? What happened? What's going on, man? That's why God will continue to send you more thorns. You want less thorns? Proclaim that his grace is sufficient and mean it. And mean it. Mean it. God's been dealing with me. You know. And he's been telling me through his word that I have no reason to be angry. There's not one real reason that I could find for me to be angry, for me to be disappointed, for me to be unhappy. Or are we just going to go home tonight, go back to our cell blocks and say, yeah, but not for me. Beloved, this book of Philippians was written for you and for me. One of the most beautiful things about God is this, that he's not a respecter of persons. There's no favoritism. Nobody can say that they came to God the Father and they got reconciled to God the Father and they experienced the forgiveness of the Father any other way but through the way of Christ, the cross, the blood, and the resurrection. There's only one way. There's only one truth, Gary. There's only one life. It is only found and experienced in the grace of God, and the grace of God has been given to us in the person of Jesus Christ. This book, the whole book, the Bible, all the books, 56 books, were written because God is a gracious God. Because we didn't deserve Christ. You know, we just don't deserve him. We just don't. And guys,